Everybody's sitting there. In today's world, if you're sitting in Congress and you took a gamble to make sure government was still open, and 8 people can throw you out as Speaker, and the Democrats who said they wanted to keep government open, I think you've got a real divide. I think you've got a real institutional problem. Interesting, it was in this room after we had won the majority, I had become Speaker last. And
first of all, many Americans may be able to claim thousands of dollars. A group of Democratic lawmakers are supporting the plan that would provide millions of low-income people with more monthly checks. A proposed Senate bill could result in increased monthly payments for Americans directly deposited into their bank accounts. Even Democratic senators want to pass a bill that aims to expand both the earned income and the child tax credit. According to a press release, if the proposed bill seeks to raise the child tax credit $3,000 for ages 6 and 17 and $3,600 for children ages 0 to 5, the initiative comes in the wake of several states offering additional checks for various reasons. Now, New Mexico governors have also announced a rebate check program for residents, with single tax filers receiving $500 and married filers receiving $1,000, attributed to a budget surplus from increased revenue due to high oil prices and production. Senator Brown said in announcing the legislation, he expressed the need to address the financial challenges faced by families. Families are working harder than ever, he says, but have less and less to show for it. Corporations have raised prices to pay for the rent, and now the cost of childcare continues to rise, and parents cannot keep up no matter how hard they work. Our plan would actually put more money into the pockets of American people. The proposed bill aims to deliver the child tax credit on a monthly basis, offering a reliable source of financial instability. Just to help families cope with the rising cost of living, the release notes that the legislation could increase the income of more than 40 million households, benefiting 65 million children. But with this in mind, House are actually working on a Ways and Means chairman. With this bill, they said they have a historic investment in working families of America and American people. Now, some Illinois residents can expect to receive actually worth $5,000 checks in their mailbox due to a new program from the state's treasurer office. Last month, the Illinois state treasurer has actually sent out a news release announcing over 66,000 people are in line to receive up to $5,000 from the state's unclaimed property program, and they have to open their mailbox. According to the news release, some people are working with Illinois General Assembly on the state's money match program to allow for a fast, quick payment to residents who are owed money through the unclaimed property program. The announcement by the Illinois state comes as the other states have been sending out direct stimulus payments. In Alaska, some residents are said to receive checks worth $1,300 in the state's permanent fund dividend, which uses interest gained from the state's revenue. But you also should know this. The Illinois Treasurer Office has actually announced that the new Enhanced Money Match program allows officials to use data collected already. And now it will announce any money putting back into the people their back money. Because as of January, well, the average regular gas in the United States price is pretty small. The amount is cheaper than most of the prices that we saw last year. Average price for gas is already on January 13th is nearly the same as the previous week's average, but 4 cents higher than average from 1 month ago. Because according to data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, well, the price drop is starkest when you look at the current average compared with peak prices, about a 34% decline since June. When you look back on further and compare current cost with gas price at the same time last year, it's now about 2 cents cheaper. Spot shortages can easily drive up the gas prices locally because of refinery or pipeline shutdowns or just blending issues. But big nationwide swings in the price of gas are almost due to the price of crude oil. And new data from the Energy Information Administration shows that the cost of raw crude oil typically represents more than half of the cost of a gallon of gas. Refining and distribution and tax account for the remainder. Over time, the price of crude oil has just significantly increased with supply and demand, many factors affecting both, but recession, crisis, and higher prices tend to tamp down demand. Gas prices in the pump rarely affect the market day conditions. Instead, they represent costs incurred per week, folks. So what does this mean? Because gas prices are smaller, does it mean that we'll become getting stimulus checks anytime soon? Well, here's my answer to that. First of all, drivers in Hawaii, California, Washington, Nevada, and Alaska are seeing the highest gas prices, and food prices have also increased 0.2%. It marked a slowdown relative to the increases that have been seen for most of the year. Compared with a year ago, it was 11.8% versus 6.5% overall for all inflation items in the index. In an interview with CNBC, the CEO of Kroger said the company expects grocery inflation to remain relatively high this year, but to ease as the year progresses. A good growing season for farmers around the world will contribute to easing inflation pressures because eggs have been one of the most categories that have seen the most inflation, with prices up 11% in December, and even in November things were high too. So recently the House did pass a bill to seek lower gas prices by cracking down on alleged price gouging by the energy companies. This Consumer Fuel Price Gouging Prevention Act grants the president authority to issue emergency proclamations and make it illegal to increase gas, energy prices in excessive and exploitative ways. Yeah, people are exploiting people for stimulus checks, but that's definitely not cool. Instead, it is very bad and wrong what President Biden has done. Folks, here's what I'm talking about. The Biden administration and Democrats in Texas are the nation's top energy producing states. They were also aware of this bill. In the days leading up to a bill to support this vote, well, it was unclear whether the bill even has enough support to pass. Moderate Democrats were frustrated with the bill. Democrats in Texas see the nation's top energy producing state wary of the bill, and they fear legislation could be targeting the industry and pretty much unfairly without proof of actual price gouging. Gas tax holiday, for example, would have removed all taxes on the cost of gas, but the president reconsidered rebate cards, which is another option to provide millions of people relief at the pump. So, I am in support of this, and I do think it's a good idea, but it's definitely not enough because Joe Biden should do more for the people in sending out stimulus payments. If you guys agree, then be sure to subscribe.
The baby. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ann Williams Isom, and I'm the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services. And the mayor doesn't know this, but this is a very special speech for me and a very special week for me. My oldest daughter is getting married on Saturday. It's been very interesting, all of the emotions that I've been having. So while we go to pick up the wedding dress this afternoon, I can't help but think about my ancestors and all of the women in my life. My mom, my 92-year-old mom, who I would have wanted to be here today, but we're trying to keep her safe to get to Saturday. And all of my grandmother and all of the women that have brought us to this moment. Today, we're talking about women's health. And I think I've told this story before, but my grandmother died in childbirth with my mom. So when we talk about in New York City in 2023, that still 9 times, it's more likely for an African-American woman is 9 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related complications, it's personal to me. When I think about my own personal history with my body, I think about that soon-to-be married woman who I had bad postpartum with. And y'all know nobody likes to see a pregnant woman or a woman with a baby that's not happy. So no one wanted to listen to me. If it wasn't for my mom, who's